Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're back taking a look at this vintage Sanyo 12-inch 3-speed oscillating table fan. And this is actually something kind of special to me, and I'll tell you why here in a second. I believe this is a product of the 1980s, maybe 70s, but I'm pretty sure it's from the 80s, probably early mid-80s. I'm sure somebody will correct me down below. But this is something I've been after for quite some time. Growing up, my grandma had one of these. She had one of these and a Panasonic blue-bladed 5-way oscillator table fan to go with. And she always used the Panasonic in her room, and then this thing was always set up in my room. And I'm talking like when I was really little. Like I remember this being in the room where I was kept as like in like a carriage, even as like a baby. But as I got a little older, I always liked to play with both fans and whatnot. And I always liked this thing quite a bit. And then eventually she got a new one and then she gave it to me. I played around with it at my house for a while and used it. And then at some point when I got a little bit older, but still not very old at all, I took the whole thing apart to clean it and see how it worked and, you know, try and oil it and all that stuff. And of course, at that age, I didn't really know how stuff worked or how to fix stuff. So I never really got back together right, because the problem was I could never get the motor to run right, because that was before I had discovered how to realign bearings after you put something together. So I'd tighten the motor screws up and the thing would just lock and sit there and hum and it wouldn't run, and I got frustrated, and then eventually at some point the blade fell off the bench and snapped, and that was the end of that thing pretty much. But I do have a picture from when I was a kid of my bedroom, and there's just stuff all over the floor that I was playing with, and this is one of them, I think, in pieces. I'll see if I can find the picture and put it in here. But either way, I'd been kind of looking for one for quite some time, and I never really found one. And then when I did see them, they were always very expensive. And then this thing popped up on Facebook Marketplace when I was at school at some point for like nothing. I think it was like $10. And I saw it and I messaged my buddy Rob. I was like, hey, that's the one. Like, I've been looking for one for a while. And he's like, okay, I got you. And went and picked it up for me. So Rob, if you're watching, thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. But now I finally have one, and it's been sitting in my bedroom staring at me for a while, because I haven't gotten around to playing around with it because I've had so many other projects. But decided tonight's the night, looking for a nice chill project, so this will be a nice quick easy one to work on tonight. So yeah, that's the story with it. Go ahead and take a look here. It's in fairly decent shape. It's just dirty and needs servicing. There's one or two grill pieces that I think are missing or just really bent. This one's definitely missing. Some of these, I think this one's just really bent, actually. I think that might be the only one. Sanyo had this weird thing going at this period in time where the front grill is like really spaced out and you can easily fit your finger in there, and the back ones are really nice and tight, kind of like you would expect from an 80s fan. Oh no, this one's broken here too, I just realized that. Or maybe it can just get popped over. We'll have to take a look. But yeah, I always remember that, where the front grill was really spaced out and I could always get my fingers in there and whatnot. But yeah, otherwise it's in pretty good shape. There's a little bit, I mean, it's just dusty, but there's a couple scuffs in some of the plastic and whatnot. This is technically broken here, but I think we'll be able to pop that back in. It's just kind of, I don't know if you can see, you're on the tripod, but it's popped out there. I think I'll be able to pop it back in and put a little super glue on it and it shouldn't move ever again. But not too yellowed or anything. There's a couple pieces that are a little more yellow than others, but here's the data tag on the bottom here. Hopefully I'm holding this steady enough. Sanyo electric fan, model EF12SP2, 120 volts AC, 60 hertz, 0.35 amps, number 450121, Sanyo Electric Company, and UL listed, made in Mexico apparently. I got the metal plate on the bottom too, which is kind of nice. But yeah, so, well actually before we get ahead of ourselves here, so much stuff on the bench, I apologize. Everything's kind of a mess now. I just got back from school. But before we go ahead and tear into this, I'll show you what it does or doesn't do as of now. So here's high. Which actually I don't even want to run that for too long because those bearings are really tight. The thing should just take off. But yeah, so it definitely needs some love. While I'm in there and I have the whole motor apart, I'm going to go ahead and do that oil wick modification that I did a video on, which if you haven't seen that and you're into these fans, you need to watch it. I'll put a card over there for you. It's modification my buddy Rob came up with where you add new oil wicks to these things. So while I'm in there I might as well, because then I probably won't have to service this again for God knows how long. But yeah, I figured I'd throw you guys up on the tripod here. We'll do a little time-lapse video, and I'm going to start tearing into this, and once we get to the point of actually doing the oil wick modification, I'll probably stop and show you guys one more time in case you haven't seen the video. But either way, you know the deal. I'm going to throw you in the tripod and go into time-lapse, and let's dive right into this thing. Two interesting things that I don't think I've seen before, but then again it's been a while. First off, the motor actually has leads coming out of it, but they cut them and then spliced them together into the head wire with these little wire nuts, so that's kind of interesting. It'll make it convenient if I want to take this completely apart though, because I can just undo all these wire nuts and all the wires are color coded and whatnot. But more interestingly, at least for me, I think this is pretty funny, the capacitor, just like a normal off-the-shelf capacitor with leads, and they crimped them together, which is kind of odd in and of itself. Usually you see ones with wires and they're soldered directly to the little terminals or whatnot. But not only that, they actually zip tied it in place. That is the only thing holding that in place right now, aside from the leads themselves going through these little holes. It's literally just sitting there, and they zip tied it from the factory. So that's odd. Never seen that before, but kind of made me laugh a little bit. But yeah, so far this is coming apart real easily, and well, didn't strip out any of the screws luckily enough. Although the screw on here actually put up a little bit of fight, that's kind of unusual. But yeah, either way I'm going to keep tearing into this a bit, and then we'll get to that bearing wick or oil wick conversion, and maybe even revarnish the stator too. Because I mean, we're here, we might as well, especially if we're going through the work of all this other stuff. But anyways, let's continue on. So as you can see, we got everything all apart here, and everything looks pretty good so far. Went ahead and messed around with my little oil wick conversion here, and unfortunately messed this one up, but I did get it. So for those of you guys who haven't seen the video, first off, again, recommend checking it out because there's a lot more detail there. But the stuff that these fans came with back in the day, that you can see there, there's actually a shocking amount of that still left in there. But I forget what it's called. It's like permawick or something. I can't remember, but it's basically just sawdust impregnated with oil, and over time it dries up and shrivels up and falls out, and even when you lubricate it, like this stuff, like, just doesn't work the same. So what Rob came up with is getting these like fibrous or felt washers from Granger or McMaster-Carr. I don't remember. I think it was McMaster-Carr. And then you can cut these to size and fit them in there, like I've done here. And these hold a ton of oil, and will actually make these like actually somewhat permanently lubricated, if you will, or at least keep you from having to service them all the time. So went around and messed around on this side off camera just to see if it was doable, and it is. So like I said, unfortunately, you can usually get both bearings out of one thing, but it's been a while since I did this. But yeah, gonna go ahead and cut this one down the size and get all that oil wick out of there, and then we will fit the new one in there, and then we can go ahead and lube these up, clean everything else up, put the motor back together, and then we can pretty much start moving on to just the regular cleaning and stuff. So anyways, gonna go ahead and throw you guys up on the tripod here, and let's go ahead and do that. So not entirely sure how much you guys are actually able to see there, but went ahead, took the screwdriver, dug out all that stuff, which honestly is just kind of like earwax. It's kind of gross. And then trimmed up a felt washer or fiber washer, whatever the heck they are, and pushed that down in there, and it actually came out really good. So very happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and load these up with oil, and then we can go ahead and reassemble this thing and continue with the cleaning. Sorry for all the interruptions in the time lapse here, but just got to point out, I think you can even see the difference with these new oil wicks. I mean, you can just see how much oil that's holding. It's just completely wet with oil, and it holds quite a bit because I put a lot of zoom spout in there. But yeah, I think you can tell it even just looks better. So once again, highly recommend doing that. But anyways, we'll continue on. Hey guys, so my childhood Sanyo table fan is complete. I've actually been using this as my nighttime runner for the last couple weeks, and this thing is just incredible. It runs so smooth, and with that new oil wick conversion, it's just so nice and smooth and free spinning, and it's nice. It moves a nice gentle breeze. It's not too loud. It's got a nice sound to it, and overall very happy with how this came out. This cleaned up extremely well. Managed to straighten out all these grill pieces. Actually, just realized that one's a little bent. These are really hard to get just right. Kind of depends on the angle you look at them. And I don't really mind that there's one or two missing. This stuff happens. It's old. But base cleaned up real nice. It's actually still shiny and whatnot. It's actually a little dusty from me using it the last couple days. But yeah, overall, it's in really good shape. I'm very happy with how this came out. And figured I'd go ahead and give you guys a demo. So sorry about the background noise. I got a box fan running because it's warm out, but either way, here's high. Probably can't even hear it over the noise of the box fan. Actually, let's shut this thing off. There we go. Now you can actually hear this thing. Oscillator knob just drops right into place. I actually don't know if I have my my paper towel meter down here right now or not. I don't know where it got off to. But you have to take my word for it. It moves a nice breeze. Not like blow you off your feet level, but it's got a nice gentle breeze to it. And like I said, it's real quiet. So go to medium. Fan has a real nice distinction between speeds too. And low. Low is like dead silent. Really nice gentle breeze. These things don't have much motor hum at all, but you can hear the motor hum over the noise of the airflow. That's how quiet it is. We'll go back up to high here and give you guys a spin down. Show you guys the power of that oil wick conversion. So here we go. And I'm going to wait for the timer on the 40 seconds there so we have a nice even number. Because mind you, that blade is not very heavy at all. And just keeps going and going and going and going. 25 seconds spin down with just this light plastic blade. Mind you, spin down is not everything, but compared to what these fans do with the original oil wick and that little tiny bit of oil that it maybe still has, it's a hell of a lot better. And they just run smoother this way. So once again, I know I've said it like 8 times now, but I really recommend you guys do that. But yeah, anyways, I think that's going to do it for me for this video. So thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, hit the little like and subscribe buttons. I'd appreciate that. By all means, leave a comment if you have one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.